going on, everybody? It's Retro Handhelds 24. This video is just going to be a kind of like a comparison video. I am gonna get a game, or I'm gonna try to get a game working later today and post a video about that like normally. But some stuff came in the mail today, and I just want to go over it. You know, these are just my personal opinions that I would like to share with you guys to take, full advantage of. So recently I got the D-brand Killswitch revision case, and I was kind of hard on it, and I made another video saying, you know what, it's not their fault, they did the best that they could. And then on top of that, they redid it, and then on top of that, they're going to send out custom Joy-Cons as well on top of redoing the case. So, mad respect to them for trying to work with what Nintendo made. Let's get that story clear. Nintendo did this, nobody else. And as cool as the feature is, it's just not, structurally sound, I would say. At least compared to the Braille system, even though you always have that one Joy-Con that wiggles and the other one fits in perfectly. Like, what the heck? That was super frustrating, but it is what it is. So without further ado, the one case that I was talking about came in today, and it's the dupe, if you will, the clone of the D-brand case. This is like $10. I got off AliExpress. I was too excited, I already put my Switch in it just to, compare. And the way it works, it does not attach. Joy-Cons are there, right? And the plastic here is very hard, and then once you get to this side, it slowly turns into rubber, and it's got some grip right here, but it's nowhere near like the quality of the D-brand, so don't get that twisted. You are getting what you pay for. So these little bumps right here for the Switch to, get grip as the kickstand works. The way it works, because there's no bottom to this, which I do like. There's no bottom to it, so it's just like, and that's it. The way it clicks on is you go through the top right here, you pop it in, and then these little nubs, you clip the case onto those nubs. And I did I tried pulling them off the nubs, and it's weird because for whatever reason on this side of the Switch the nub is bigger, and then on this side the nub is thinner, but it still works really well, where I don't have to worry about the bottom or the case coming apart. It's on there. So this is the clone, basically. So far, there'll probably be more clones of the D-brand case. And the way it feels, it doesn't, like I said, it does not feel nearly as good as the D-brand case, and it's obviously a lot lighter. And the grips, even though, because I'm gonna bring in the D-brand case right here. Well, parts of it at least. Yeah, right away you could just feel the difference in the grips. So here, let's try it this way. As you can see, the D-brand, let's try and measure up. The D-brand case gives you more grip, it's more texture, but it's, they tried to copy the very similar design where your fingers have to rest here, which work perfectly, and there's a little more grip, there's more to hold here, basically. All of this is grip all around. It's just all grip, which is really nice. The texture of the case is really nice, and even here it's grip. On the clone, there's a little texture here. This is smooth, and this is all smooth. In fact, you can see where the texture starts and where nothing is. So you get what you pay for. However, I really like this case. Obviously I'm going to keep the D-brand case, but I'm definitely going to, oh, here we go again with this guy. Just never wants to stay. and the shot. Ugh. I'm going to keep the D brand case, and I'm going to rock with this for a while because it's lighter. I can hold it like this, and yeah, there's wiggle room, but since this thing is here, let me see if I can show it on camera because it's hard. It's on this side. Since this is holding it, this whole thing is supporting it, so the Joy-Con is not going to come out because it's locked in, as long as that little clip thing stays over the nubbin, which it does fairly well. Like, now this isn't a complete case. This is just a clone, a very cheap clone of the D brand case. So this is like the D brand case too. You got to keep in mind when you, sorry about the shaking of the camera, when this is on, like, you have full on protection. I thought about this too. Like, I wanted this to be exposed because I kept thinking about this case, but honestly, like, it's like a cell phone. You got all the bump area from the grip to protect your Joy-Con, as well as it goes over here, here, and down here. So I don't know how it would. I'm not going to do it, but if you were to drop your Switch altogether, you know, if the Joy-Con released, unfortunately, or if you just drop the whole thing, this is definitely gonna give way more protection than the case like this. This is just to, you know, for comfort. It is not to really protect. I will say this though, you know, this lip right here it's not gonna do much, obviously, right? And you got a lip here. Again, it needs to be complete, and it's way more pronounced on the D brand case. But, which is cool, because this case is so thin and light, you can dock it into your normal Switch. You don't need a, you know, kind of like what D brand did with their extension of the dock, so you can dock it with the case on, which is really cool, mad respect. But this fits in, and I'll try to show it as best as I can here. It fits in just fine. It's a little tight, I'm not gonna lie. I do have a thick screen protector, but I ain't worried about the screen protector or the back getting scratched. But it is, as you can see, it's a little tight. So I wouldn't say it's perfect at all by any stretch. So, but it is convenient that I can still use the dock. If I were to, you know, yank it out of the dock, I'd probably take the dock with me at this point. You have to, like, slowly take it out, or you have to hold one hand on the dock and then take it out. It's not like stuck, but it does add a little more thickness to this big boy. What I do like is the price. So let me see here if I could pull it up. Okay, so it wasn't $10, but it was $15. Let me see. So yeah, I got it off AliExpress. It was 15 bucks. I don't know if this was the one that shipped from the United States or United States. It might have been the more expensive one. But they do have them on AliExpress, and I mean, even $15 still came out to $15.03. It's still like a great deal for a Switch 2 case. If you don't want to spend the 83 bucks and wait, but you know, D-brand is more to come because they're updating the case constantly now. This is a good alternative, hands down. Like, and it's hard to find this on Amazon. That's why I got mine off AliExpress. I just waited, but hands down, this is a great case. From all the other types of cases besides D-brand, this is probably the second best for the price. Because you still dock your Switch. You can still use the kickstand, you know. The only problem is you get yourself into this case, you know, it's not a hard time to get out of it. You just have to lift up and it'll slide off, and then you can take the Joy-Con off that way. That is the one thing about this case versus the D-brand case. But this was made, obviously, besides being a clone, it was made that way to not deal with this. As cool as this is, some people just want a case that keeps the Joy-Cons on. This allows you to obviously take the Joy-Cons off and use them like this, which is cool. And again, this lip, major protection. And there's grip all around. There's these little gel things too, which are cool. And then even up here, you can see, or you can hear it, there's grip. So you get tons of grip. It feels very premium with this case. If you don't got the money, like, get this. This is like hands down second best case I've used yet. No one should be lifting their Switch up like that, or Switch 2. I didn't do that with the Switch 1, and I wouldn't. Obviously I didn't want to do it with the Switch 2, but I just did it anyways, just to show that the Nintendo design is very flawed. But this case isn't like, because it's only using these little nubs to attach it, it's not perfect. So I wouldn't even do this for a while, because it could unsnap and then the Joy-Con would slip out, because it's still heavy, because the Switch 2 is heavy. It's just lighter because it's not the D-brand case. And for reference, like, this is probably the best way to do it. So it doesn't appear that thick, but the D-brand case is a lot thicker than this case. It just, the top, they kind of, obviously because it's a clone, they try to copy as much as they could, but then as it goes down, like, you can see the indent, it gets thinner around here. So that's why when you dock it, it does dock, but as it goes higher up, or lower in the dock I should say, this gets thicker, so that's why it kind of is like a little rough to take out. I wouldn't say rough, but a little stubborn. It's not like a perfect slide in, slide out. However, I do like that it protects the back from getting scratched, and I can use my official dock. I don't have to use, another dock. It's cool that D-brand does that, but I mean, if this wasn't in the office and I didn't have this little area set up for show and tell basically, and this was in my, front room where it should be, I wouldn't want to have the Nintendo Switch dock and then, attach that dock to fit this dock. Like, it would be too much. I wouldn't have enough space on my 80-inch TV stand to do all that. And I'm not sure a lot of people would agree with me on that, but I know some people would feel the same too. It's like, it'd be kind of too much, but I'm sure there's a workaround it, because I haven't even tried to attach the D-brand to the Switch to get that going. For me personally, there's just gonna be no point, because there's not enough space here. Basically, that's the main reason. And then out there, I only got one Switch dock. I'm not planning on buying another Switch dock, hopefully. So we're just gonna work with what we got. So this is convenient. I'm gonna obviously keep this on for a while, because I will still be able to use my monitor. I'll still be able to dock it. It still has relatively the same design, just the grips are slightly smaller and not nearly as good quality, but it does the job. Like, it does the job. And the lip and everything, it's cool and it does protect, but at the same time, it does make it easier for me to get to the triggers. It's easier for me to get to the A button. Not that it was like huge in the way, but it's just something else. However, this does not feel nearly as premium as it does with the D-brand case. So just wanted to point that out there. This is still like the best case you could get, but you're gonna pay for it, and you do get a lot, because you get a dock attachment, and you get really high quality with the plastic, and the grip texture, and the comfort is, like I said, there's no other case as of right now that's more comfortable, and like I've noticed, that will provide as much protection as the D-brand case, because as you can see, that lip is huge. I know everybody's talking about the lip in the comments, but the lip that goes around it, like, I thought about it, like, that's like a good protection for your Switch. If it were to fall or break apart or what have you, it's gonna catch it before it hits anything, you know. Maybe this might get like damaged or hit or something, hopefully not, but everything else on the Joy-Con is gonna be super protective if you were to drop it with that lid. So I did notice that, and I do respect the brand for making, I had it upside down, for making such a protective case when you really think about it, because it does a good job of just overall protecting it. So, you know, I have the option, I can switch it in and out. I'm definitely, like I said, keeping the D brand case. But there's more. Another option I didn't even open up is this one. This one came too. That was my wife's package, and she's like, "This is yours." I was like, "Oh." I was like, "What is in here?" And then I felt it. I was like, "Is that another case?" This is the Skull & Co. Savage Raven. I did get this off AliExpress too. I didn't even open it. And I don't know if I'm going to. I might just give it to one of my buddies. I just wanted to show it off. This is going to be, like, I can already tell you, thick plastic. I have the Skull & Co. Do I have a few of them? I do. I have one for my OLED deck, which I guess I could undock because it's been docked forever on my PC here. Let me just undock it. Okay. So this chungus, right? It needs to be cleaned. That's what happens. Oh, I'm gonna cramp. This case is a Skull & Co. case for the Steam Deck OLED, but it's awesome. It is awesome, and it does the same thing as this case theoretically would do. You can stand it up, but you know, it's more or less the Steam Deck's design. I mean, this, you still can't beat this setup right here. The whole having the joysticks here and the buttons here and even the D-pad here. I was nervous at first when I got this. It's like, will I like this as well? Because, you know, it should be like this. But no, you cannot beat this setup. And the grips and everything, it's more or less, again, the Steam Deck, but this just provides more grip to grip. It's just amazing. I never got another case for the Steam Deck because there was no need to. I did get a case by Skull & Co. for the ROG LAX, and it was like the same thing. Grip on the back, thick here, thick down here. But the way the ROG Ally is made is like the back parts are just not pronounced, so even with the grip, it made it a little more comfortable. But it was still, my hand was cramping because, you know, it just wasn't designed as to be as comfortable. But ever since I got those Etsy grips, the ones Russ was talking about in his video, this is a game changer. And I know I showed them off before, but this, and it's all plastic, it's all 3D plastic, so, but the texture's great. And this just brings so much life into this. Not that this is like terrible or old or out of date, because it's still up to date. It's still overpriced new. Definitely overpriced new, but you still get a lot. You get 8-watt battery, 24 gigs of RAM, and you get that Z1 Extreme, which is fairly still decent until we see what the Z2 can do, which I'm sure is gonna, I wouldn't say blow it away, but probably 10 to 20 frames higher maybe in certain games, and probably be really great on the battery as well. But anyways, I can't go back to that case because this just makes it like, it's, because it's not that big of a device. My hands aren't huge, but it gives enough grip, and these are the travel size, not the large ones. It makes it as comfortable, if not more comfortable, than the Legion Go S. And I just love those things because I got screen protectors on them, but I just refuse to get a case. It just doesn't need it. So I got this on a whim, and I saw Derek Derek's video on all the switch cases, and he was using this one the most, so I figured why not. I'll order it. I'll see how much it costs in 1 second. This was, in case you're interested, I don't even know, was that PGT or PG Tech, the dupe for the Killswitch case. Again, 15 bucks, you're gonna get 15 bucks worth of quality. You're not gonna get the D brand quality, but the form factor and the dockability makes it worth at least, like, I would say this should be like 30 bucks because of what you get out of it. But of course it's only, you know, half that, which is awesome. Like, it's definitely something you should get regardless, even if you do get the D brand case, because you want to have the option, if you don't want to take your Joy-Cons off but you just want the form factor and don't have to worry about it, then spend the 15 bucks extra and get this case as well. Let me see how much the Skull and Cold one was, or Savage Raven. So that was kind of expensive. Let me see. Well, I must have used some sort of coupon or something, but it didn't take off much. So this is waiting for delivery. It's already been delivered. That was 24. I don't know if I used a coupon or I had to, because it came out to 22. I think that's still a fair price. If you get off Amazon, it might be a little more, but this price for that case, and I didn't even take it out of the container because, like, I just put this case on, but it's going to do the same thing. It's going to give you more grip. You're not going to be able to dock it. You do, I think, I'm not sure. I think that part is separate. I don't think that came with, as you've seen, it's just the case in there. However, this would be, if there was no D brand, I would still have gotten this. If I wasn't going to order a D brand, I would have got this case for sure, just because of how it feels on the Steam Deck, just because it was great on the Ally X. Despite the Ally X not having the best turnaround grips on it, it still added to it. And then on top of that, just like the Steam Deck and the ROG Ally, you can stand it up. So if you get a controller, you don't have to worry about it tipping over. You do lose the kickstand, and you cannot dock it because it's too thick. It's a thick boy. So that I'm gonna leave up to you guys to decide. I'm probably gonna give mine to my buddy because he's got a Switch too. But I did want to show it off and show you guys how much it costs. So I do recommend that, but you got to know what you're getting yourself into. You're gonna lose taking the Joy-Cons off completely. Like, you could take them off here. It might take a second to unclip it and then pull it out. It might be a little easier. With this case, it looks like once it goes on, it's snug. You're not gonna want to take it off without putting force. You know what I mean? So it's from what I can see inside the plastic, because again, I don't want to open it. It does look like, well, you know what? Let's just open it. It's not like I'm gonna resell it, so. But I'll tell you this, I'm not taking the Switch off that other case. I just put it on. Yeah, it's just as I expected. It has some flex, as most of those cases do, but yeah, it's thick. You know what though, if they had designed this somehow, kind of like how they did here, like not have all of this, maybe like part of it, that you could probably dock this, because the back is pretty thin. So I mean, let's see, I'll show you guys. I mean, you could get it in there, and with the Switch 2 in it, it might be a little thicker, but you could definitely get it in there. Can we go all the way down? Yeah, no, it's not happening. Oh, you can. Ugh. but you're gonna have a stuck switch because of the lip right here. So you gotta know what you're doing, what you're getting yourself into. And then as you can see back here, you lose the kickstand, which I know a lot of people like. But with these grips, let's see. Yeah, I mean, it's still good because there's enough grip for your fingers to hold on to. It's just, you know, we need something to make it super comfortable. In any case, the deep brand I guess comes the closest because there's just a tiny bit more down here to hold on to. We need like a teardrop, but then that defeats the whole, like, you know, it'll look weird. It'll look like a controller basically, but it'll feel way more comfortable. And then docking might be a situation because if this goes out any further, not in this case obviously because it's not dockable, but like on this case, if this went out any further, that might interfere with it docking into the Switch 2 unless you put your Switch 2 on some very thin piece of plastic that gave it like an inch higher. Who's gonna do that? But yeah, but either way, for $22, this is a good case. It's not the best, but you definitely get protection, and the grip here is just like on the Steam Deck. It's good. It's definitely good. But once you put it in, Joy-Cons are not coming off. There's a lot of lip, except right here, so it's not as good as the D brand with protection. But there's a lot of protection down here, and this is, you know, as much as it flexes, this is still pretty sturdy down here and does give you a decent amount of lip to protect your Switch. So I dig it. I do like the buttons just like on the Steam Deck OLED because they're so easy to press, and they, you know, they're there and they're pronounced. So that's another thing too. On here, it's easier to get to the power button, but it's still kind of a pain because you have to go in and do it. And then it's even worse on the D brand case because it's thicker. You really have to get in there. That's the one thing that, you know, when it's together and not holding it like an idiot, you know, it's a great case, super ergonomic, I guess, and it's got a lot of grip and a lot of protection. But when it comes to turning it on, like, that was annoying because, like, I don't have huge fingers, but even like I have to like squeeze the fat in my finger to get to the button to press down on it. It's kind of annoying. Same thing with the volume and stuff. And again, it's not D brand's fault. It's just like how, like, actually the volume and the volume buttons are more pronounced. They stick up more, so the volume is not as bad. But that power button, even on here, and this is less plastic, still I have to press down. Now it's not as bad as like the Portal with the Portal case on. That's pronounced, but it just takes a lot of force. To this day, I thought that would get worn down. It hasn't. Might as well just do like what Joey Retro Handhelds did. He just chopped this off. I just deal with it like a fool, but you're better off just chopping this off on your Portal and just having access to those buttons and living life the way you should be. But it's kind of annoying on these cases because you do have to get force. But the volume buttons are more pronounced, so they're easier to get to. You have to press down a little harder, but you can still get to them. It's just that power button. It's annoying, and it's more annoying on here. Again, that's Nintendo's fault, not D brand. So yeah, this is just a quick, I wouldn't say quick, it's been 30 minutes, but this is just a comparison. If you guys are waiting for the D brand case and you're psyched about it, don't lose hope. You know, it's definitely worth it. It's just expensive, and you just have to know, obviously from videos and such, to not hold it like that. Even with new Joy-Cons and what have you, it's just Nintendo. These magnets are just not strong enough. If this wasn't designed the way it was, like this little trickery, probably a Chinese manufacturer just copied real quick, which is, again, super smart. But even this, like, you can still see the flex, right? And I don't trust that little clip to like really hold everything together. And then if that were to come undone, if I don't have my finger on the Joy-Con and it slips out, because the case has from here to here of hard plastic, but I don't trust that even with this heavy device. But there's less to worry about of the Joy-Cons coming out with this case, and it's super cheap. I would just get it again just to have it, and it's always sold out, so that should go to show you. But when it comes to pure action quality, nothing compares to the D-brand case. You really do pay for what you get, and you do get a premium case with super texture and good protection for your Switch. I gotta say, like bottom, top, all around, there's good protection with this case. And they throw in a dock. So when I thought about it again, I was like, you know what? Let's say the case is like, because it's shipping really, shipping's like 20 bucks. So it's like 60 some dollars. So the case is like 40. Say the case is 40 bucks, and that dock that comes with the Killswitch, that would say that's like 20 bucks. So that's not bad when you think about it, because this case is worth $40. Because it's high quality, you know, it's cool. They do a lot of like little customization, and you know, they give you the ability to actually use the Joy-Cons if you want to. So you win it all. It's just the way Nintendo designed this thing is just not the smartest. For a very expensive device that, you know, is very heavy with whatever reason, not the biggest battery. Again, Nintendo just does what they want, and you gotta roll with the punches. But this is still a great case. It's just don't, like I was thinking more or less this case when I got this case, and I didn't even test this case out to see about that, but I knew it would support it and I wouldn't have to worry because it's more of a locked in case. I was thinking about this case when I got this case. I was like, all right, let's see if it breaks, because I'm gonna get this $10 or in this case $15 case, and it's gonna trump it. It does not trump it, not at all. And it's comfortable, but it's not as comfortable, for real. But it's still good. Like, I still like it, and I have less to worry about, if that makes sense. I have no protection up here, but I can dock it. I still get the kickstand, and it's just cheap. I like that because you get your money's worth, and this is worth every penny for sure. So stay tuned. I'm gonna try to get another video going today about a game I was trying to emulate through Switch. So hopefully I could get it going through Windows. Someone's talking about the RP5. Well, I don't know about all that. We'll see, because the file size of that game is already almost 100 gigs. So we'll see how it goes on the Portal first, and then we'll see what we could do with the RP5. But definitely keep your eye out for this case. If you haven't gotten it, I definitely suggest you to get it because it's cheap. If you want the D-brand case, get it now, because they're going to be sending out the version I got, more or less, but maybe even better with updated Joy-Cons, because this is the revision and it does have more strength to hold with the Joy-Cons. But then they also said that they're going to be sending out custom Joy-Cons as well to have a better connection to the Switch. But again, nobody should be holding it that way, and we shouldn't be too hard on the D-brand. They're great people. So that's gonna be it for now. Thank you so much for watching. You guys have a great rest of your Saturday. Have a good Saturday. Take care.